The great conflict of the ages is about to intensify. But remember the words of Jesus. In me ye might have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation. But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Would you like to know how to exercise courage and fight the good fight of faith? Listen to this devotional.
Conflict and Courage, a daily devotional by Ellen G. White. Not to be trusted. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. 1 Samuel 15, verse 9. Since the defeat of the Philistines at Michmash, Saul had made war against Moab, Ammon, and Edom, and against the Amalekites and the Philistines, and wherever he turned his arms, he gained fresh victories. On receiving the commission against the Amalekites, he at once proclaimed war. To his own authority was added that of the prophet, and at the call to battle, the men of Israel flocked to his standard. The exposition was not to be entered upon for the purpose of self-aggrandizement. The Israelites were not to receive either the honour of the conquest or the spoils of their enemies. They were to engage in the war solely as an act of obedience to God, for the purpose of executing his judgment upon the Amalekites. God intended that all nations should behold the doom of that people that had defied his sovereignty, and should mark that they were destroyed by the very people whom they had despised. The victory over the Amalekites was the most brilliant victory that Saul had ever gained, and it served to rekindle the pride of heart that was his greatest peril. The divine edict devoting the enemies of God to utter destruction was but partially fulfilled. Ambitious to heighten the honour of his triumphal return by the presence of a royal captive, Saul ventured to imitate the customs of the nations round him and spared Agag, the fierce and warlike king of the Amalekites. The people reserved for themselves the finest of the flocks, herds, and beasts of burden, excusing their sin on the ground that the cattle were reserved to be offered as sacrifices to the Lord. It was their purpose, however, to use these merely as substitute to save their own cattle. Saul had now been subjected to the final test. His presumptuous disregard of the will of God, showing his determination to rule as an independent monarch, proved that he could not be trusted with royal power as the vicegerent of the Lord.